Well, I just picked up this 1970 Yamaha R5 350 for less than $100 as a package deal. An unheard of price for this bike. So these bikes are highly collectible. They are two-stroke twins, and back in the day, they were the bike to have. And they're the predecessor of the very valuable, rare Yamaha RD 350. So these bikes were made for 3 years, 1970, 1971, and 1972. So this is the first year of the R5 350. And as you can see, it is in very rough condition. But for $100, I figured we'd take the risk, buy it, and see if we can get it running and driving by the end of the video. That's always the goal. And looking over it, you know, it's really not missing that many parts. We've got all the blinkers there, fenders are there, pipes are there, and they're actually not that bad. The airbox is missing. It does have the original carbs. Tank is awful, but you can buy new tanks for it. And the mileage is pretty high, 16,905 miles, but not that bad. Blinkers are all on it. Tires are very dry rotted, and they go flat. Does have the key. It's bent, but the key nonetheless. Ignition does turn. Throttle's locked up. Seat is just kind of falling off of here. Little mouse nest underneath the carbs. Petcock is tight. Missing the chain, it looks like. Chain is off of it. I wonder if it doesn't shift. So I bought this from a guy that was going to scrap them out. He bought them as a package deal for extremely cheap, and he didn't know any information on them. Doesn't know when they last ran, doesn't know anything. We're kind of going into this blind, but that kind of makes it fun too. But yeah, that's kind of what we're dealing with. So we are going to get this thing in the garage and start tearing into it, and hopefully by the end of the video we'll be ripping this thing around. Alright, it actually has compression. So we have some hope. Alright, we got this bike in the garage. Let's confirm the year before we start digging into it. So we'll make sure it's 1970. Let's see here. Oh yeah, right there it says, right on the tag there, hopefully you guys can see it, 1170. So 1970, and this is the VIN. And a lot of times these bikes, these stickers are worn off, so you're gonna have a VIN here. And I believe after 1973, they make a 17-digit VIN. And what you do is you count the 10th letter down, and that matches up to a year. And using this handy dandy year chart, you can find the year based on the letter in the 10th digit, or the number. And these I just had made up. They're on my website, available for purchase. Really cool. I use these all the time. And if you want to go buy one, I think I made 300 of them. But yeah, so if you guys want to support the channel, get something pretty useful to put in your shop, go check them out. The first 3 people that order a magnet will get a free hat. Alright, so we confirmed it's a 1970. Let's go ahead and start digging into this thing. So first thing we're going to do is check the oil. I believe there is an oil dipstick on here, and it looks like the capacity is 1,500 cc, so about 1.5 quarts. Let's see if there's anything in here. Ooh, doesn't look like much. The last 2 bikes that came from this load didn't have any oil or gas in them either. So I think what was happening was the guy was draining all the oil from the engines, all the gas from the gas tanks, and he was getting ready to scrap these out because junkyards don't accept things with oil or gas in them. So that would be my guess. They're all prepped to get scrapped. So let's take a dipstick and see if there's anything way down here. I think there's a check bolt too. Oh, there's actually a little window down here. It's really dirty. I can't see anything in there. See if there's anything down there. Yeah, it's completely empty. Not a single drop of oil in there. So it looks like the gas tank has the original badges on it. Obviously, they've seen better days. Looks like this thing was left outside for many, many years. It does have the original gas cap as well. You can see the Yamaha logo on there. Pretty cool. Let's see how rusty this thing is on the inside. Take a peek. There's actually some gas in there. I don't know if it's water or gas. There's some type of fluid in there. We'll have to see. But there's stuff at the bottom of there. It's not like that rusty. It's not super heavy rust. It's just light surface rust. So it's actually not that bad. I was kind of expecting worse than that. So that's usable. You know, we can work with that. As long as we put a filter on there, it should be fine. I don't see any big chunks of rust coming off of that. But the outside of the tank is obviously junk. I mean, it's pretty bad. It definitely could be sandblasted and painted and, you know, brought back to good condition. But that would take a ton of work and a ton of time. It'd probably be better off just buying a new tank. Seat coming off. Looks like a mouse got into the seat here. They like to burrow in here, chew all the foam and make homes in there. It's nice and insulated for them. But you can see the old battery's still in here. That is crazy. See if all the wiring is intact. So we've got the blinkers, taillight, we've got the fuse here. Might take a vacuum and quick clean this up. But you've got negative, positive going in. I think that's pretty much it. Nothing too complicated going on. Yeah. Let's check the fuse here quick before moving on. Alright, so fuse looks good. We've got a 14 amp fuse. So we can put that back in. Obviously the battery's junk. So we're going to take that out and we can just use a jumper for now. Alright, that's all cleaned up. Good to go. Let's go ahead and we're going to hook up our battery jumper to it and just see if anything lights up. Negative. Here's our positive. On. I don't see any smoking yet. Let's see what happens when we turn the key. Wow. Neutral light came on. Horn. Nothing. Headlight. Nothing. Blinkers. Ooh, that's pretty hardened up. Headlight working? Is that burnt out? Nope. Huh. Oh, there's the headlight. I don't know why it took a couple seconds to turn on. There we go. Cool, that's working. High and low is working. Awesome. Horn? I'm guessing that's just a little corroded in there from sitting outside. Blinkers. We can't get that switch to go. I'm guessing that would work. I'll have to take that apart and try to clean up that switch. Taillight. Hey, look at that. Cool. Brake light work? No. You can see that does not move at all. Yeah, brake is completely locked up. That's not even attached. So that would make sense. Front brake work? Kinda. So at least it lights up. Even the lights for the gauges here are working, you can see. So, all right, turns on. There's no electric start on this, so it's only kickstart. So at least we don't have to worry about that. All right, right here is the cap for the oil tank. This is for the 2-stroke oil. See if there's anything in there. Doesn't look like it. I'll show you guys the little window on the side. So here's the tank, and there's the window, and it looks like it's painted over. Can't see anything through it. So it doesn't look like there's any oil in the tank. All right, let's see if water was in the tank or if that's gas. Let's get these gas lines off of here. They're gonna be replaced anyway, so we can just rip these off. You can see how bad those were. And there's a crossover tube too. All right, let's see if we can get this gas line off too. This one's got tape on it. Not sure why. Ooh, that's on there. What's going on with that? Got duct tape. So I'm guessing the gas line was leaking and they just taped it. I don't think I've ever seen that done before. All right, will the Petcock turn? Ooh, she's pretty stuck. Oh, there we go. Yeah, nothing coming out. Anything coming out? Nothing. Turning good now. But yeah, that Petcock is clogged up badly. Let's see if we can get any gas coming from the crossover tube here. Oh, there's some. We're gonna drain this out of here. We're gonna replace all the lines anyway. Let's see what we got. I saw something. There we go. Oh, is that nasty? This has been sitting for a long time. Almost looks like oil. Oh yeah, that's not good. Not much. That's all she wrote. Oh, look how dark that is. Yeah. That gas has been in there a while. It's not water though, it looks like gas. Oh boy. Let's get this gas tank off of here. Alright, yeah, this was definitely painted too. You can see a bunch of different layers of paint on it. Still attached. Alright, so it looks like our horn was disconnected. That's why that wasn't working. So typically this would be plugged in. It almost looks like, let's see, is that connected correctly? Got brown and orange. Okay, that looks good. That's all connected. Yeah, it's all connected correctly. Both coils are intact here. Both coil wires are there. Where does the horn wire go to? I don't see a place for that. Huh. But everything else looks like it's connected up. Alright, taking the boot off of here. We're definitely going to be cutting this back. Guessing the wire is not exposed at all. Let's see. Yeah, not much. Is tight. Looks like a champion plug. Let's see what this looks like in here. No, doesn't look too bad. Lots of carbon on the plug. The plug is a pretty decent color. Yeah, it's not that bad. Alright, let's move on to the next plug. Get this boot off. Here's a different style boot. This is not a twist off kind. Leave that. This plug was loose. And that one is brand new. Look at that, completely white. So I'm guessing this cylinder either has low compression or maybe it wasn't getting fuel. But that was never running. Look at that plug, brand new. And it looks like an older plug too. It's a Champion RL82C. What is this one over here? This is different, L6G. So maybe they just replaced this plug before putting it away. I don't know. But both plugs look decent. I wish this one was darker. That would confirm that this cylinder was running at one point. Alright, let's go ahead before we spray some penetrating oil down here. Let's take our camera and just see if there's any bad scoring or holes in the piston or anything like that. See what's going on. Ooh, alright. You can see the cylinder walls look a little iffy. There's the ring gap there. Couple light scratches. Lots of blow by. It just looks like it's been sitting forever. Definitely needs some lubrication down there for sure. But overall, it doesn't look horrible. At least the piston's still in there. Take a look at the other one. Ooh, that one looks pretty rough. Alright, let's see what we're dealing with here. Ooh. I don't like, what is that stuff way down here? Hopefully that's just reflection from the piston. Otherwise we're going to be in trouble. See all that stuff? That's got to be reflection, right? Must be oil on that piston. Oh, there's a little chunk there. What's that from? But yeah, it looks, ooh, what's that too? Big chunk there too. Must be old gas or something. Yeah, actually that side looks a little worse than the left side. So, I don't know, hard to tell the condition. The cylinders don't look like they have any, huge gouges. But, yeah, I don't know if those rings are stuck or not. We'll have to find out. Any help it can get is probably good. Get these down a little bit. A little oil. Alright, let's do the other side. A little oil going down. Alright, let's see if it's smooth. Alright, kick this thing over. See what we get. pretty darn smooth. All right, let's hook up a battery and check for a spark. We'll check the right side first. See what we get. All right, this one needs a battery to produce spark. So we'll hook up our jumper to it right away. Turn that on, turn the key on. All right. Let's see what we get. Will it have spark? No, it will not. No spark at all. Not good. All right, we've got nothing. Turn the lights off. See if we get anything. Nothing on the right side. Let's check the left. See if you guys can see anything at all. I'm not seeing anything. Is there a kill switch on here too? Doesn't look like it. Let's turn the key one more setting. Nothing. Yeah, nothing at all. No spark. No spark at all. Alright, so it's gotta be the points, I would think. Hopefully. Get this cover off of here. Look how rusty these bolts are coming out. A little rough. I think there's one more underneath the shifter here. Ooh, this looks pretty bad. Ooh. Look at that. Uh-oh. She might be too far gone. Look at the rust on there. Wow. Yeah, I'd say the points are a little crusty. Let's get some of that rust off. Wow. We're gonna take a screwdriver and just kind of pick away at that. It's not looking too promising. Hopefully these points are salvageable. That is a lot of rust. I don't know if these are making contact at all anymore. Just peeling away all that gunk. Alright, let's lube all this up. Just douse it. Just using some WD-40. Alright, now we're gonna take our file and just file these points, all that gunk away. See if we can get back down to the metal. I mean, they're really gunked up. Now we're using some points cleaner. Clean that off. All right. Let's see if they're opening and closing okay. This side is. Let's see about the other side. That side is not doing anything. This side almost looks like it's stuck. Yeah, see? It's stuck open like that. Work that a little bit. Get that to spring back. Let's see. It's still not working. It was so rusted. Starting to go back. Need a little faster than that though. All right, both points are opening and closing the way they should. All right, let's turn our battery back on and see if we get any spark. All right, battery is back on. Here we go. Let's see what we get. Ooh, there's spark. Look at that. Pretty good spark on that side. Turn up the lights here. See if you guys can see. Uh-oh, we lost it now. There. Alright, so there's spark on that side. Pretty consistent. It'll get better as those points get cleaned up. But yeah, so left side looks like it's pretty consistent. Let's check the right. All right, threw a new plug in the right side. Let's see if we get any spark on this one. Got pretty decent spark on the left. Let's see about the right. Here we go, on, kick it over. Nothing. No spark whatsoever on the right side. You still getting spark on the left? Let's see. Yep. Alright, so something's going on with the right side here. Alright, so I fiddled around with the points a little bit more. And check this out. Alright, turn this thing to on. I think we're gonna get spark now. Oh yeah. That's the right side plug, sparking good. Let's turn up the lights so you can see it. So now we have both the left side and the right side plug sparking. Looking good. That's perfect. All right. We now have spark, but do we have compression on both cylinders? Let's find out. All right, on the R5 350, we want a minimum of 120 psi. Anything under that, it probably has stuck rings or needs a rebuild. So let's hope for 120. The throttle is stuck on this machine, so we can't do throttle open. But hopefully we can get a pretty accurate reading here. Throttle open, let's see what we get. Huh, that's pretty good. That does have oil down the cylinder though. So it's like 150, so we're probably sitting like right at 130. That's really good. I'm happy with that. So that is on the right side. That was a cylinder that looked a little iffy. Had a lot of rust buildup going on. All right, let's check the left. Hopefully it matches the right here. We'll find out right now. At least 120. Kick it over. Oh yeah. That one's even better. That one's got a lot of compression. What are we at? 50, 60, 70, 80, 180 psi with oil down it. So it's probably 150 or so. Maybe 160. That is pretty darn good. For an old bike. You saw the cylinders and the pistons. They looked a little rough. I'm really surprised on the compression there. So far, we have really good spark now on both cylinders and great compression. So this is going pretty good. Let's move on to the carbs. See if we can get those working. All right, a little clamp here. Take that off. Don't want to rip the boot. Then there's a crossover tube here going to the other carb for the choke. You can see Mikuni. So they are the original Mikuni carbs on here, which is good. Let's see if we can get the slide out. I think these were stuck. Alright, so we're gonna have to let these sit with some penetrating oil down them. So I like to just spray in here a little bit, and some down here as well. Some back in here. And then I like to just take a screwdriver and just kind of, oh, let that pop free. There we go. So you can see all the old gas on the slide. Ooh, it's pretty gunked up. So that one came out, luckily. It wasn't too locked up. A little penetrating oil did the trick. Alright, again, got a clamp here. See if the choke was working. It's locked up too. Not great. Everything is pretty tight. Let's see if the slide is locked up here. Oh, cow. That's on there tight. I have a feeling we're gonna need the ultrasonic cleaner for this one. Ooh. Yeah, she's gonna be locked up in here. Yeah. All right. All right. So flathead screwdriver going in here. See if we can pop it free. There we go. That one wasn't too bad. We're gonna have to sand all that old gas off. But yeah, choke is locked up. Alright, let's open her up. Alright, let's work on the left side first. This is the one with the choke. See how bad this one is. The bolts are extremely rusty. Here we go. Let's see what we get. Ooh, not horrible. That just came right out. Wow. Okay. Looks pretty clean in there. Bowl. Floats. Not horrible. A bunch of rust in the bottom, but not, you know, not horrible. All right, let's see if the passageway is clear. Yep, wow, okay. Douse those. Let's see if it's all clear here. Yep. Yep. It's not too bad. Way better than I expected. Main jet is clear, running a 110 for the main. You've got your emulsion tube in there, and then our pilot we can get out too. Alright, there we go. Yeah, she's clogged pretty heavily. Running a 60 pilot. That was definitely clogged. Take a look at the air screw here. One. A little bit more than 1.5 turns out. On the air screw. A little spring in there as well. Looks like that. Alright, and then we've got the choke we can take out. You know what, we might take that out after letting it soak. I think that plunger is stuck in here, rusted in. So that might help to soak it first, and then we can take it out. But we can take the emulsion tube out quick. Out of here. Yeah, completely gunked up, look at that. Nasty. So that's it for the, is that the left side carb? Yep. Wasn't horrible. Like I said, way better than expected. Let's tear into the right carb right away, get that over with. And then we can let these soak. Alright, crack it open. Oh yeah, about the same. Floats came right out. So on this side, that passageway is blocked off. So this one is for the right. So the bowls are different. Let's see if the main jet's the same. Ooh, a little crust underneath there. We are looking at a 110 for the main, so it's the same as the other carb. May as well pound out that emulsion tube right away. There we go. Look at all the gunk that came out of there. Alright, pilot. Let's get that out. Let's see if that's clogged. Yep, heavily clogged. And that one is that one's a 40. So I think the other one might be a 42. I just couldn't see it. Let's see here. Yep, that's a 42. So it wasn't a 60, it was a 40. Needle came right out looking good. So that's looking great. And air screw here. Let's see what we're at. We are 1.5 exactly on the air screw. The other carb was a little bit more than 1.5. Alright, that's it. So we're gonna go let these sit in the ultrasonic cleaner for a little bit, come back and get these reassembled. Alright, water in the ultrasonic cleaner is looking a little nasty, so what we're going to do is take our basket out and drain this out. We've got the bucket down there, so check this out. That is some nasty water coming out of there. I like to drain this every, so often, just because the water gets so bad. But usually all the oil and residue sits at the bottom. Alright, so this is what's left in the bottom of the ultrasonic cleaner. You can see a bunch of oily residue left in there, so it's good we're cleaning it out. That's quite a bit. Using some of the simple green. Pour some of that in right away. That's a little cleaner. Alright. Carbs turned out great. Looking like brand new carbs here. We blew through all the jets. Those are looking good. Here's the other carb. So now the only thing left to do is fix this choke. You can see it's still stuck. So let's open that up, see if we can get that fixed, and then we can put everything back together. Alright, so to get this off, it looks like we just have to take a 12 mil. Get this nut to button. Oh, there we go. Alright, so we're going to take a little sandpaper and just sand that down. You can see it coming back to the brass. O-ring came out. We'll get the new O-ring replaced as well. Alright, check this out. Choke is working. We replaced that O-ring. This one was really brittle. Alright, we're gonna quick clean these up a little bit. A little WD-40. You can see all the old gas on there. We're just going to zip that off. Just our plastic brush here. All right, now we're good. Perfect. We've got that crossover tube that needs to line up with the other carb too, so make sure that's good to go. Alright, those are looking good. at that. That's how dark that gas was. That's crazy. Alright. This petcock is definitely clogged. You can see the crossover tube here. The bad part is there was gas in it. Probably needs a new O-ring here. Ooh, pack full. Yeah, lots of rust in there. Look at that in there. Not looking too good. Still pretty rubbery, but look at that. Pretty clogged. Ooh. Pretty crusty looking. Alright, petcock is looking pretty good, all blown through. We're gonna put a little gasket maker on the surface here, just because this O-ring gasket doesn't look too good. I don't have another one that's exact fit. So for a temporary fix, we'll just put a little gasket maker on there. Now we did get a new O-ring for the bowl though. So right here, that's a new O-ring. Get the cap on here. There's fine. Alright, plugs going in. Crossover tube attached. All right, we've got some gas line of filters we need to add. So a filter will probably go like right here. And then Let's see, where can that go? Cut it right here. I have to cut that one up high. Let's just see if there's any oil in it. I don't think there is. We can check it though. Couple drops on the plug. That's about all we're getting. Ooh, I think I see some flakes in there. Uh-oh. Yeah, there's some flakes down there. See that metallic, shiny bits? Oh boy. Well, we're gonna add 1.5 quarts to this of oil, and we'll see what the heck happens. 1.5 quarts going in. 10W40 wet clutch oil. All right, that was half a quart. Next quart going in. This bike is oil injected, so there's gonna be a pump right underneath here. It looks like that bolt broke off. So we've got two holding this cover on. See if we can strip these out. Oh, they're already off. Well, that was easy. Let's see what is underneath here. All right, pump is there. Cool. Let's see right there. See if it looks like the cable's locked up. So this is not working. I think that cable broke off of there. Oh, there we go. Now it's working. Huh. Wonder why it wasn't before. Perfect. Now it's working. Cool. So we fixed that. Let's take a look at our bleed screw here. Bleed screw, I don't think we have any oil going to it. I think that tank was empty. Nope, there's some oil going to it. All right, so the tank must have a little bit of oil left in there. We're still gonna run premix because I don't know if this is actually working until we can crack the lines right here. So the pump pumps through here. That's where the oil comes in. And then as it runs and you rev it out, it pumps them through here up to the cylinder here. So we're gonna crack that and see if oil is coming out of that line. If it is, we know the pump is working. All right, we're gonna put some 481 in there. Got those filters filling up. All right. Well, I think we're all ready for the first start. So we have really good spark, as you guys saw, on both plugs. Surprisingly, the points were horrible. Good compression, over 130 on each cylinder. Carbs are cleaned out with the ultrasonic cleaner. We've got gas going to the carbs. The oil pump is hooked up. It looks like it's bleeding properly. And we've got fresh fuel in the tank and fresh oil in the engine. So, will this thing run? I think it's been sitting for a long time, so I'm guessing it's going to smoke like crazy if it does fire up. And we're hoping that the crank seals are fine as well. You know, there's no oil in it, so it wasn't protecting those crank seals. They could have been dried out. But we'll find out soon enough here. Well, here goes nothing. Let's see what happens. All right, choke it, gas is on. Let's see how many kicks. A little starting fluid. That's a lot of kicking. Oh, he does not want to go. Go on. Try no choke. Doesn't want to go. It's getting really close. Just dumping oil out of the cylinders. It's just dumping oil like crazy out of these. Crank seals might be toast. That might be why it was really hard to start. It's just dumping oil out. But it ran. Yeah, look at that. I mean, that's all from the pipe. Backfiring through the carb a ton. It's just look at how much oil is now. That's all oil in there. Just puking it out. My whole driveway is full of oil right now. Great. Look at that. Just dumping out oil. So, yeah. That would mean the crank seals are completely toast. That sucks. But it runs pretty decent, you know, if you're on it. At least we got to hear it fire up. But yeah, it looks like the whole engine has to come apart and new crank seals have to be installed. Because right now, all this oil from the transmission is going right into the crankcase. And that's why it's so hard to start. It's puking up that oil on the spark plug and it's not igniting that fuel. So technically it's running really, really rich. Well, I was hoping for a different outcome, but you know, after this bike sat so long without oil in the transmission, you know, those seals really don't stand a chance. This thing sat outside and rusted for many, many, many years. I mean, just looking at the points, you can see how bad it was. You know, water got in there and corroded everything out. You know, I'm really just surprised it ran the way it did. So we definitely need new points. We definitely need new crank seals. And this thing has to be probably all rebuilt. I'm guessing every seal in that engine is cracked and dry rotted, just based on the look of the tank. I mean, the whole bike is rusted out, basically. So we're just lucky we got this thing to run. You know, I kicked this thing probably 1,000 times. Somebody should do like a click counter. I'm guessing it feels like 1,000 times I kicked this thing over. But we finally got to go, and it didn't sound too bad. You know, I didn't hear any knocking in the engine, but it was backfiring pretty good out of those carbs, which means that the points were probably not opening and closing at the right time either. So a bunch of different things caused this bike to kind of run sporadically. You know, the main thing being the crank seals. I mean, oil was just dumping out of the pipes. I don't think I've ever seen oil dump out of the pipes that badly before. But yeah, at least we got to hear it fire up, and it was fun going through everything, and I always learn stuff along the way. And honestly, the seller said this thing would never run again when he sold it to me. He said it's just a parts bike, and he said, you know, you're probably never gonna get this thing to run, so use it as parts. So we proved the seller wrong. At least that feels good to do. And we got this thing to run. It just needs to run reliably now. So what we're gonna do is probably let this thing sit in storage for another year. Maybe take it out when we get bored and replace those crank seals, order up some new points, and try to get this thing reliable again. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed, you know, picking this thing up for less than $100, going through the whole thing, diagnosing it, and then doing the first start in probably, you know, 20 years. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for next video, and until next time, we are out. All right, we're heading out to the lake lot. I want to give you guys an update on the building, the new workshop. So the metal roof went up and the cupolas are up. So let's go check it out. They just finished up yesterday putting the cupolas up. All right, that's what it looks like. Pretty cool. Looks really nice. So we went with the bigger cupola in the middle. That's gonna have a light. That's all glass right here. And then the two smaller ones on the sides. And those have deer weather vanes. So let's see if I can zoom up there. I think with the trees in the background you can't really tell that they're up there. But then we went with the black metal roof as well. So that's the progress on the pole building. It's coming along. Yeah, that thing's 4x4 up there. Those are 3x3. Let's see what else they have going on. Not much. So it'll be awesome to have the lean-to on the back here. Looking forward to that. But that's the update.